Welcome to International Securities Exchange's podcast series. Facilitated by renowned educators, ISE podcasts are intended to teach beginning as well as seasoned investors the ins and outs of trading. To find an updated list of podcasts, please visit www.ise.com/podcasts. Please be sure to listen to our important message following this episode regarding the risks of investing in exchange-traded options.
One of the things that we also see is that there are some gaps in this chart. This is the ISE index, whereas there are no gaps in this chart. And by gaps, I mean gaps between bars. I don't mean missing data. Hopefully neither of them is missing any data. And the reason for that is the timing. Now, the spot market is essentially, essentially a 24-hour market. We actually carry it as 23 hours and 59 minutes. And the ISE index is 7:15 to 4:30, and that's Eastern time. So it has a little bit of a different, it has a break, and the reason gaps appear is because there may have been overnight action. So we do see that difference. I don't want it, I'm pointing it out because it's there, and I don't want it to be misleading. It's just the reason why that the action is not completely continuous and you do see those breaks. Obviously, the chart itself matches up pretty nicely. Now, that issue of trading hours brings up a couple of things. And let's take a look at this, actually. We mentioned the gaps already, which comes up from those trading hours. Don't be misled by it. It doesn't undermine the value of looking at the index, but do keep that in mind. I'm going to convert these charts to what we call line charts. Not a big deal. I'm going to make these line on close. So we're not seeing the whole bar. We're just seeing a line connecting the closing prices of each day. Remember, these are daily bars. We'll look at some intraday bars in a few minutes. And I'm going to take this second data set. Remember, that's the cash pair, the spot pair. And I'm also going to change that to line on close. So we've taken away the open, high, low, and we're just showing the closing price connected as a line, each daily closing price. And we'll literally click and drag this so that it overlays. We'll drag it up to the first section. We'll plot it on the same axis and overlay it. Well, my point is, look how tight it is. You will see a couple of spots where there's a variation. Some of that variation, and it is very, very slight. In fact, I'll push the bars apart a little bit so you see a little more closely. If you're looking for a point of reference, this is the beginning of 09. Remember, this is daily. This is the beginning of 09 if you're looking for a point of reference. Right here. So you'll see there is some variation, and that's probably can be attributed to two things. First of all, a tick or two, a bid and offer difference at the time when these finals and these closes go up. The other thing that's a little different is that the close from ISE is 4:30. The close from TradeStation is 4:59 p.m. So there's a 29-minute difference.
I think ours is 15, Stan, but maybe I'm wrong.
I had 4:30 when I checked.
Oh, really? Because the options only, that's possible. The options only trade till 4:15, but you're right. Maybe it shows that the next 15 minutes, maybe that is the close. You could be right. So
okay, well, we would double check that. And of course, anything, you know, when Steve and I were talking about different values and all, and he was, of course, reading the legal disclaimer. I should reinforce that, not just from a legal point of view, but from trader to trader. Always double check on the ISE site, or if necessary with the, you know, the OCC, the exact terms and conditions and dates that are involved with an option. You should always double check that, because even a knowledgeable speaker who's, you know, speaking to a group may say something and off the cuff, and always double check facts like that. I did check this, and we can look at that a little bit later. But I believe the index carries to 4:30. That's what I had in my notes, and we can double check that. Assuming that that's accurate, and we'll double check, we do have a 29-minute difference between when TradeStation considers the close, which is 4:59 PM. That's common to use for spot, and that 430 value. Not necessarily a big difference, but that would attribute to some of it, as well as I said, that sort of bid and offer variation that can always occur just between in an arbitrage between two different marketplaces. Now I want to take a look. This we take a look was the yen pair. And remember, this was in the same price expression terms. But let's take a look now at the euro. Make it a little bigger, but I want to leave this visible up here. And what we should see, it's pretty obvious, is a mirror image. In one of these is euro/dollar, one is dollar/euro. Again, what do we see? The price action is pretty much the same mirror image. We do notice that there are some gaps in the index chart, and it probably attributes to that overnight question. Now, if we take a look, what I did in order to pursue the same issue here is to take an indicator, and again, this is something you're welcome to do, and this is similar to what I did in Radar Screen. I took this indicator called Custom One Line, and again, for those of you who have TradeStation, Custom One Line is just a shell, so you can pop a little formula in there without having to write it all from scratch. I'll turn this on, and I'll click Format. And here again, I'm using 1 divided by close. So what I'm doing is I'm going to convert this data, data 2, that's the cash pair, the spot pair, and I'm going to take its reciprocal. I'm going to convert it to the same terms as ISE. So instead of euro/dollar, it'll be dollar/euro. So I set that up ahead of time, is why I'm showing you the dialog box. I'll click OK again. You see it in yellow in the background. And I also want to take this data. Probably should have done this first. Hang on a second. I want to take the symbol for the ISE symbol, and I want to turn it into a line on close. So I'm doing the same what we did with the yen, except in order to see, I want to verify how closely do they match. Am I on the same page? And in order to do that, I first have to take the reciprocal in this case. With the yen, I could just take the yen spot pair and lay it over the ISE symbol. Here I'm taking the euro symbol, taking the reciprocal, and then overlaying it on the ISE symbol. Again, you'll see some variation. That's going to be based on how many decimals we carry out to. You'll see some variation based on time. If you look at those varied numbers, they're usually going to be pretty small, and our tracking should be really pretty good. But do be aware of some of those differences if you're trying to benchmark very, very carefully. Now, I'd like to take a look at some things related to the options. So let me click over to this workspace. I will take a look and see if there are questions coming up. I don't see any from what I'm trying to look at, if I'm looking at the right place. No, here they are. I'll do my best to try and answer them concurrently. I may have to go back and look at them a little bit later.
There's a question, can you give us a copy of the desktop setup at the end?
Yes, I'd be glad to. I will put up my email address, and if anyone who emails me, I will send you the workspaces that you saw in here. I'm not showing any custom easy language, no custom indicators. Anything I've done is a custom formatting that'll transfer immediately, so I'll be glad to do that.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. To find more podcasts on options, stocks, alternative markets, and market data, please visit www.ise.com/podcasts.